all you need to do is stay present, stay vital, and know that you are co-creating with spirit. So spirit's going to organize it. Spirit's got the mathematics and the intelligence. Like, you just have to say yes, keep this vessel clean and happy and joyous.
Hello, my friend. Welcome back to the You-est podcast. I am so excited. I have someone here who I have always admired. I love, love, love her energy and what she's up to in the world. And you are going to be so glad that you are tuning in to this conversation. Kelly Gores is back. Kelly, I am so excited to talk to you about the work you're doing around Heal, the docuseries. You've got so much coming up that are going to help so many people, and we're just going to dive in. And I am so grateful for your energy, your presence, your time, and being here, my friend.
Oh my gosh. Well, I'm like beaming. My smile is beaming because you just make me smile, and I'm so grateful to be here.
The feeling is mutual. We're going to keep going because I swear this could be a mutual adoration. I would just keep going. And something I want to say. So we met, gosh, right at the premiere of Heal, the documentary. It was at the Illuminate Film Festival in Sedona. And I remember I was doing some in the green room, you were being interviewed. And I just remember thinking, this woman is such a badass and powerhouse. And she has created something that we need now, like to understand what is possible for healing in our bodies, our mind, our spirit. For those, I can't imagine someone who doesn't know Heal in the documentary. Maybe we just start there. Like, what was the impetus? How did you get started? The story of that? Do you mind kind of bringing people up to speed who may not know as much about your story?
Sure. I'll give the very Reader's Digest version. But essentially, I just wanted to put all my teachers that empowered me into a film. And I had grown up in LA. I was an actor, on and off my whole life from childhood. So I'd been on and around sets. I was, driven to be an actor because I know the power of storytelling to move. Like, we go to watch a film to feel, and to be moved. And so, and also in my late 20s, acting I was coming up upon, like, I was hitting blocks of, we all set out to win the Oscar and I was getting nowhere near. So I started to just dive into self-help and, spirituality and consciousness and law of attraction and trying to figure out how to get beyond my self-consciousness, how to heal my perfectionism and doing it right rather than being this fluid actor who is free. And so in trying to solve the obstacles in my career, I just started just devouring spiritual content. And, so I'd be driving to auditions, listening to Eckhart Tolle, The Power of Now, and Wayne Dyer, Change Your Thoughts, Change Your Life, and The Power of Intention. And then I started going to Agape, which is this amazing spiritual center in LA that is led by Michael Beckwith. And he started, just the vibration in there, you start to feel in your body and you start, I was meditating at the time, transcendental meditation. And so all of these things were teaching me to tune into energy and how I felt in my body. And what I learned around this time was, like, if I was talking about consciousness and spirituality, I would expand, I would light up, I would have seemingly like interminable energy. And then when I was talking about acting and auditions and being on set, or I'd get a job and I'd have a momentary dopamine hit of winning because I'm an athlete, I'm competitive, and I want to win the job. And then I'd get to set and I was just like, I'm feeling like that contraction. And so, people started coming up to me going like, what are you eating? What's your exercise routine? How are you so happy? How are you manifesting all these things? And I was like, it was because of all this content I was consuming and applying in my life. And my life just kept getting better and better. Like, I was manifesting jobs I didn't even know existed. And it was really cool. So I saw The Secret, which really changed my life in a lot of ways. I started doing the practices and, like I said, manifesting things. And I was like, wow, this stuff really works. But her way of storytelling is a little different than mine. She's a little more it's a different style. So, but it planted the seed in me that I wanted to put all my teachers in a film. And so a couple final catalysts were I read The Biology of Belief by Bruce Lipton. Because before that time, I wasn't really thinking of the movie about health. It wasn't about like healing and our power of our minds. It was more about the power to co-create with life. But when I read and learned about epigenetics, how we are not victims of our genes, but our genes are this blueprint that tells this legacy story of our ancestry, and that our lifestyle choices and beliefs and energy can turn on and off genes, it really like biologically showed me that we're co-creators. And I said, I just remember where I was reading this and I was like, everybody needs to know this. And so I was like, I'm going to make this film. And then like a few years later, it was marinating for a while. I read Anita Moorjani's book, Dying to Be Me. And for anybody dealing with cancer, they have to read this book. It gives the most faith and possibility. She's the poster child of possibility, that you can heal from anything at any time. And that was like, okay, I'm ready to make this film. And so, yeah, that's what I did. And I just trusted when Michael Beckwith told me in many agape sermons that if you have the calling in your heart, that you also have everything in it, in you and in spirit, in co-creation with spirit, to see it realized. There's a reason that you were given that dream, desire, calling. So follow it, say yes, and you'll be shown the way. And I did, and it worked out.
Oh my gosh, it's beautiful. And there's a lot in there. I think for for anyone listening, right? First of all, going back to your body wisdom, I think there's a lot of wisdom in that too. The noticing, I love acting, but I feel constricted. I feel like I'm not leaning in versus, noticing what gave you energy and what didn't, which is something you go really into and heal. But this is something we get a lot of questions. How do I know to follow? How do I know my intuition and how do I know what to do? And as you were speaking, I'm like, this is the answer. You were following your energy, your body, and letting that lead, which you could even say spirit connected to energy, ether, like that's part of it.
Big time. Yeah, and it's I mean everything, and I'm learning about somatic healing now, like a little late in the game. I did heal, however many years ago, and here we are 7, 8 years later, and I'm just like playing with somatics and like learning how to feel again. And truly our body is like the subconscious mind, and it deals in the realm with energy, and it will guide us if we learn the language that it's speaking to us through symptoms and sensations and this expansion and contraction. And it's just so wild. The more you practice and the more you get attuned, the more you can just stay on track because you know how to read the signs.
Totally. It's so interesting. It's a different story. That's exactly why I started this show. I was having these conversations or hearing these people, and I'm like, I have to have this, like people need to hear this.
Mm-hmm.
And I know, getting this into, a documentary and on the big screen, it's like that we consume so much. And I'll just say a lot of what's consumed film wise is probably not the best for our energy, for our consciousness. That was one of the things I remember sitting there and I'm like, oh, this is what we need now. This is the kind of content and film and work that we need. And we can just give a little shout out to Danette, who's our mutual beautiful friend who we love, who's been on both shows and brought you to the Illuminate Film Festival. And I remember thinking, this is exactly what the world needs right now. This film. This
Yes.
film is it. How was it for you? Because there were so many different teachers. I mean, that must have been an incredible experience to like get to really get in it with each one. I mean, we've had some of them here. Some I would still love to. I love Reverend Michael Beckwith. He's absolutely incredible. Agape's incredible. Anita Moorjani, incredible. So for you to get to be around that, what was that like for you?
Oh my gosh, it was a dream. And also back then, like, I know how the story ends, so I'm confident now to rub shoulders with them and hang and have a coffee and have expanded conversations. But back then I was like, oh my God, it's like you're meeting your heroes.
Yeah.
And of course I dreamed of having like me and and Dr. Beckwith, like being besties and having photos on my desk overlooking the ocean that I was going to write, all these manifestation dreams that I had. And all of a sudden it was happening. And I was like, wow. So it was really, I stepped into, and I had support from this great, amazing little crew of people that were surrounding me. But I really kind of like grew up in the process and like stepped into confidence and practiced what we were preaching. And it was really like like a blossoming in that process, which was, like so anybody listening that says they have a dream and they get nervous or the fear blocks them or slows them down or they don't have any idea how they're going to do it. It's like, that's how I felt at the beginning. And it took me about a month and a half and, through some early mistakes in the first days of filming, and then very quickly learning that like, oh no, I have a very strong opinion. And if I just trust and can calm my body, the way will be shown, the way. So like it was literally like a meta experiment of like having to, everything that I was trying to share in the film, we were applying, me and my little crew were applying in the process. And making a low budget, documentary film is full of obstacles and lots of tension and stress. And I was just really proud. Like we were all practicing what we were preaching. And it was just such a cool experience growing up.
I think this is really important because someone on the outside would have no idea, right? It would have no sense that you felt maybe nervous or, in the beginning weren't sure. And I think I love this for so many reasons for anyone, like you said, with a dream, like maybe to expect that. That's you're stepping into your expanded version of yourself. And I also love, and we're kind of coming back to somatics, but intuition and using your body. And it's like the perfect example because you were learning and applying what you were filming, which is so cool. And I just think it's important for anyone just to hear this. Like if you're not feeling 100% and that didn't seem that way, like anyone, all of us can feel that way. That's very human to have that.
Totally. Yeah. And, there's the common saying, fake it till you make it, but it's not even, it's like, let's twist that or update that phrase to like in order to see your dreams realized, you have to increase capacity. And you're not just going to like increase capacity you got to get in the arena in order to increase capacity. So we increased our capacity as we were creating the film. And then by the end with the film, as it's released, like now we're at a fully different level of capacity and it's continuing to spiral up that way. But it's because we go through the fear and take the first step and get into the arena and take risks and learn, you have to increase capacity. You can't just have your vision board and then like gratitude journal and not take any action. You've got to get in the arena and you have to understand that it's going to take me a moment. And it could happen very fast. There's quantum leaps that occur. But it's just a matter of doing the inner work and the outer action, and finding your tribe of support along the way to get from the capacity you're at now to the capacity that's going to hold your future vision.
Yeah, it's beautifully said. One of the things I've always loved about you is your vulnerability and authenticity and sharing, like, hey, this is what is going on. Like, this is how I'm growing and evolving. And the other thing I just think of at the spiritual level too, Kelly, is, you found your meaning and purpose. And the way it always feels to me is the divine uses that for the greatest good. Like, so you feeling that instinct, that's seeing, getting into the secret and having that, as you said, as I think Michael Beckwith says, you have that call, there's a reason. It's beautiful because you linked up, to me, it's linking up with the divine, with the universe. And now it's blessing everybody. And to me, that's always the signature when it's something that comes through us. And you did, of course, a lot of work, but you also partnered with that. And I think that's really powerful and exemplary and inspiring to anybody, because we all get those different nudges, right? It's just, what is it? And are we listening? Are we listening? What are some of the nudges you've been getting since the release of the film? What's showing up next with Heal? Can you kind of bring us up to speed?
Yeah. So there was a period of time after Heal that, our DVD publisher, Beyond Words, also did The Secret and Rhonda Byrne. And so she, like Heal, released the film first, and then very quickly it became this phenomenon, much bigger than Heal. But ours is more of a slow burn. Hers was like, shoo, stratosphere, rocket ship right away. But they recognized that she should put her film into a book. And so she like downloaded and wrote this book in like 6 weeks and had some crazy energy transmission. So of course, when Beyond Words called, because I had Secret was my inspiration, right? So for me to like have the same publisher and DVD producer and like have them call me and say, we're seeing Heal on the same trajectory of Secret. I mean, I was like blown away and also like, wow, this stuff really works. Cut to like, I very arrogantly thought that I would be like Rhonda and like sit down and write this book in 6 weeks. No, it took like a year and a half, but wrote the book that I had set aside the month of September of 2018 to finish the book. So it was 9 months later, and I got pregnant kind of unexpectedly. Well, it was planned, but it wasn't planned at that time. And so all of my creative juice went to the uterus, obviously. And so it made it very difficult to complete the book. So that process, so I finished the book, had the baby, then COVID hit. Like right when we released the book, I was like, okay, I'm going to do 2 months of promotion, but like my creative, I'm burnt out. I did this documentary, I did the book, I had a baby. I'm like, I needed to just rest for a while. So I set that intention, and then literally like to the day, like the world shut down. I was like, oh God, I got to really like be more specific about my intentions. Cause it gave me a lot of downtime, but it was with death and destruction along the way. And so anyways, then I felt called to get in the conversation and start the podcast. So all that to say, after Heal, there wasn't any real nudges. It was just like, okay, these are things that need to be completed. And everybody at that point, a few years later, was like, when is Heal 2? We need more. We're ready for more. And I always saw Heal as more of like a docuseries, like an extended series, because there's so much to explore. And I don't think I could do what I did with the first one anymore. And there's so many like amazing healers, amazing, inspiring stories to highlight. And my formula has always been get the wisdom from the experts so that people feel the knowing in their body and they get the reassurance from science or ancient wisdom. And then show people examples of possibility, because it's all, as we know with epigenetics, it's all about our subconscious beliefs. And if we can start to strengthen the beliefs of the viewer, that more is possible than we are led to believe. Like as a society, we have bought into the belief that cancer is oftentimes a death sentence. And so when you hear the word cancer, when you get a diagnosis of cancer, it's automatically fear because we've adopted that belief. And I was always like, one of my intentions was to open the aperture on cancer and go, we need to shift our beliefs. We need to turn this tanker around and shift our beliefs and see it we need to retell the story, right? So the more stories like Anita Morjani and all the people that have healed from all stages and types of cancers, we need to get their stories out there. So to strengthen people's beliefs that it's possible for them as well. So that was the formula. So we kind of like worked with a few people approached us. We were kind of developing the docuseries, but it never really like formulated. Anyways, then I went through my own personal transformation, and had my relationship had kind of run its course, and he just kind of, he's my ex-partner has just a really complicated family dynamic. I was wife number 4. There was lots of kids. There's lots of siblings. It's just there's a lot going on. And we're just on different, I'm like a seeker. I'm doing the work, and he's a generation older and from a different part of the world and a different culture. And it's just like, at a certain point we outgrew each other. And so that was really painful to navigate. And so all of that to say, I didn't have a nudge to continue and do a heal too until about a year ago, where I got this download based on my own personal experience, that we really need to understand we need to remember, or we need to teach ourselves how to feel again. So much of our society and so much of our dis-ease comes from the fact that we have learned at a very young age to suppress and repress our emotions in order to survive, because our home life wasn't safe, or the perceived not safe, or we need to win love and earn love. So we adapted all these behaviors and stuffed down our real emotions. And then later in life, I have my own child. I'm reading all the conscious parenting books. I'm sitting there, I know how just to let her have her tantrum. It's my job to hold space, hold loving space, so she feels safe. And then, at the right time, reflect back to her what she's feeling, like, oh, wow, that made you really upset, to start to give space for her to express her emotions, and then also start to name them and build awareness and blah, blah, blah. And in that process, I realized, I can't even name my own emotions. I don't even know what I'm feeling. Is this rage? Is this guilt? Is this frustration? Is this, hopelessness, whatever it is. So I really just started to feel into the fact that we've forgotten how to feel. And so the nudge recently is to, and learning about somatic healing, is to do a docuseries about the nervous system, educate people how we're designed, and give them the operating system of how to be human, really. And then just kind of education around emotions, and not judge good or bad emotions, because a lot of us try to escape or judge or condemn, these negative emotions. Emotions are just conversation. Anger is not a bad emotion. Fear is not a bad emotion. Fear can be a superhero that saves your life. Anger can alert you that a boundary has been violated, or you don't have a boundaries, or you're giving your needs away. So anyways, all of that to say, I'm really passionate about it, because I'm on my own journey too. I just went through the most intense emotional period of my life that's lasted years. Then my house burned down in the fire. And it was like, because I've been exploring, because I've been doing all this work, I've had the resilience to deal with something like that, So it's just been a wild experience. But once that download came, it's just wild how life prepares you with circumstances and experiences and people that make you the right person to tell that story, or do, write the book for whoever's listening, or, open the project, or start the business, or do whatever it is that you're feeling in your heart. Life is truly preparing you to do that thing.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So
that was a lot. Sorry.
No, so good. I mean, no, I'm like, which thread to pull? Because you said so many things that are really important. And I'm sure you've thought of this, the whole, feel to heal, right? I am with you. I wish I could hi, our listeners around the world, drop a comment. Are you like this? I mean, this is why I used food, addiction to not feel. For me, it was seriously chocolate and anything in a bag in or box that had chocolate. That's just the way it rolls.
Yeah.
I just didn't want to feel things and I want to say, I think what you're saying and talking about this is so common. And for many of us, I was not taught how to process these emotions. The other thing that I think can happen, you were mentioning the secret manifestation. I think sometimes, I don't know, tell me what you think. It's very easy to start getting into judging. Oh, if I were manifesting well, I wouldn't be frustrated. Or this, which of course is all ego and all that whole world, versus, I am frustrated, or I am super sad. I don't know for you, Kelly, sometimes I'm like, I don't even know why. I just feel really sad. This has been happening recently, and it could be collective. I don't know.
Totally.
I think it's so brilliant how what I almost got this image of is your future higher self giving you the inkling and like knowing the 360 because having a sense of what was coming. I mean, the LA fires, that was something. I mean, I just talk about grief. I felt like I wanted to bawl and vomit and like give hugs, and it was so gut and heart-wrenching watching that. I can't even imagine. I mean, talk about your black belt in emotions and being with them. What, I mean, just what was that like for you, if you don't mind sharing? Because that's a big ass one.
Yeah, it was wild. It was wild, and I felt like I was in the most fortunate position because I'd recently separated from my husband. My daughter and I were renting a house, so it wasn't a house we owned, which is even that, just like to remove that piece of the headache is a big, I'm in a much better spot than a lot of people. But it was every single thing that I owned and had a lot of nice things from my past,
Mm.
and but very quickly, I mean, there was like shock and denial. It was just like a weird spot to be at. Like it was just impossible for us to process because it wasn't just like one or two of us that lost houses. It was like thousands of people. It was just like such a wild thing to wrap our head around. And so the loss of the stuff, and then, a lot of it very meaningful, heirlooms from my grandmother and me, like jewelry from a baby, and just, I don't know, things that you can't
Mm.
replace. And then,
Wow.
but the community, like I'm very particular about where I live, and the Palisades just had that energy of like perfect place to raise kids. I'm a West Sider. I needed the ocean breeze. It felt very safe. It was just, we like loved our community. So it's just a weird collective grieving. Um, and then, but very quickly, because I am so spiritual, I've done so much work. Um, and the leaving the marriage, going through like the leading up to the fires, I went through 6 months of just deep grief, even though it was my decision to end the marriage. I had massive guilt because I care deeply about this man I was with for 14 years, obviously. And guilt and just sadness of the untangling. So I was just in my own process for 6 months. Then I kind of like got out of it with the help of the universe again, giving me some interesting new information. And so I emerged from that. I was like, okay, I'm done grieving. And then a month, 6 weeks later, my house is in the fire. So very quickly after maybe a week to 10 days, 2 weeks of the emotional roller coaster that all of LA was going through, but especially that community, those communities, Altadena too, it felt like liberation was the word that came. And, we accumulate stuff, especially when we have homes. And it's amazing how fast with a kid you accumulate stuff. So there was clearly like I was leaving my marriage. I was entering into a field and like had this momentum with what I want to create in the world. And it just felt like a liberation from, it was like a clearing of the past energy. And I had done so much work and I had spoken to various intuitives over the years. And it was like, you're just on this like fast lane of expansion. So kind of that puts you at risk for very, very dramatic things happening, And so there is energy to stuff. And I really just feel that it was freeing me up to move into this next phase of creation.
Wow.
Yeah.
I almost get this Phoenix, really like legit, just I have chills as you were speaking, and it's really hot up here. So
Oh, good.
as you're talking, again, it's kind of like I've used this analogy, you see a tapestry, the back of it, and it's like, what is going on? It looks really funky. And then you turn it over and you're like, that's stunning. And so there's like this universe thumbprint, as you're speaking, to be primed and to be not that you would call that in. And I'm sure if you could do it differently, like that's not what you're looking for. It almost feels like, wow, you just went through the PhD level of feeling and dealing with emotions You're a powerful manifester. I don't know what your human design is, girl, but whatever.
Oh my
Yeah,
God.
you just,
I'm
you
a
said,
projector. I'm a projector, but I have to
Mhm.
experience in order to freaking project. And I'm like, God, why did I sign up for this again?
You're like,
So I need to like
oh,
intend with some serious grace and ease from now on. Yeah.
now we're on the other side. We're going to bring it. Yeah. Grace and ease. And wow. Though it is powerful that feeling of liberation, what you were saying, kind of what hit you. And I have to think that all of the inner work and interviewing and connecting and learning with and applying all of these incredibly powerful gems of wisdom that change your subconscious, your beliefs, like I would imagine it just came in such handy then and now, like that
Mhm.
you leaned on it. Like really, I would imagine it's like, oh wow, now we're putting this to test. Here we go.
Totally. It's times such as these. And I feel
Yeah.
I have done a ton of work and I've been exposed to incredible wisdom from these people that were in Heal and who I've been had the privilege of meeting with after. And also like it's never ending. I'm on my own journey and it's not a comparison like someone listening going, "Oh gosh, I'm so far behind or I haven't done." It's like I will be less robust in other areas that you listeners might be, so like it's all relative. I'm not even close to mastery, but for what I'm supposed to do in the world, I've been given a lot of guidance and wisdom and then experience to make me that person to
Yeah.
bring in that storytelling, you know?
And the way that I believe as humans we learn is through stories. So what it's so important. This to me, it's like sometimes I think of this wording of like we all have different ways of being an emissary of the divine, of
Ooh,
God,
I
whatever
love
you
that.
call it. And I just feel like, oh, this is your role as an emissary of the light, right? Of what's possible. It's I don't know why it's making me want to cry. It's really beautiful.
Oh,
You're like
oh.
living it. No, I don't know what's happening. I'm like, wow. Well, that's an emotion. I'm feeling a little embarrassed, but it's okay. I feel like crying. I feel it with you. And
Oh.
we all have different ways of tapping into the ways we bring light. And, Kelly, I think it's so courageous. It's so courageous to say yes, to keep feeling and healing and revealing and doing the work and looking and letting what wants to come through, allowing it. That's where some people block themselves.
Yeah. Well, it is terrifying at times to get in the
Yeah.
arena and do the thing, and based on how our nervous systems are wired and our own subconscious beliefs and conditioning, like it's subconscious. So we don't really know we have these beliefs, but it's driving our behavior. And because we're wired for survival, it literally feels like certain death if you put yourself out there and you follow this nudge, and so you just got to keep practicing. And I took a leap with Heal, and thank God I did because it worked out. So now I'm a little more confident to to follow this next state of flow into doing this docuseries. And then and it's just so beautiful that you got emotional because we're moving into this phase. We've been in such a head mind driven paradigm for the past couple hundred years, and incredible advancements in science and technology and thinking. And now we are clearly like Age of Aquarius dropping into the heart, and it's all frequency, it's all feeling, it's all energy. We're getting more sensitive, and we're magnetizing the people around us that are on the same frequency. And so like you are clearly living in your heart, and it's just so beautiful to have this, connection and mirror. Um, and then the other thing I'll say, just because as you were talking, like I got this wave of gratitude for my ex, because I'm, obviously the storyteller by trade, but I became an investor, and we invested in this company right after Heal launched. And I just knew in my gut, I was a naive investor. I had no idea, like, but I was just like, I know this. I no due diligence. I was just like, it's a knowing. I know this has to exist. Cut to a year ago, me and another board member, my partner Andrew, took over the company. We stepped in because the founder had taken it as far as she could go. She did an amazing job building the business, but she needed to kind of step aside and do her own healing. So we've taken it over. Long story short, we're creating, based on this company, we rolled my brand up into it, and we're launching this AI-driven personalized healing app. And it's really beautiful because my business partner is very in his heart as the masculine. He's like a very healthy, divine masculine, and I am been, healing and stepping into the divine feminine. So it's a very beautiful balance. His wife is an incredible healer and intuitive. And we're just creating this thing to get to meet people where they're at. And the app is called Held. And so we want to make people feel held and take away the overwhelm as they're searching for these tools to reconnect with themselves and heal. And I went through, I was married to a very, very creative and successful businessman. And so just as in life is preparing me, like, yes, there was a lot of chaos and emotional pain, but there was also such beauty. And like, he had created crazy access into the world. He's just got this gift of charm and creativity and intelligence, and exposed me to just this level of like people and conversation and change makers and business people. And so it just like all of that prepared me too to step into my power and go, wow, what if I take all the energy that I gave supporting him and trying to amplify him as like, my protector and my provider, and like take, see that as a reflection and really like take all that energy and put it into faith in myself for creating and having abundance and providing and protecting and feeling safe in my own body. And it's just been this like revelatory thing. So I can be so grateful and know that every little stepping stone on the path was just preparing me for this next iteration, which is just so exciting and feels so aligned, So it's just, you look back and you're like, God, it was all worth it. Even though it was painful and stormy at times, it's like I was given the exact experiences I need to continue to expand in alignment and power and truth.
That is beautiful. And I would say to anyone, as you're listening, like turn around and look. I really believe this is the case if we remember to look back and reflect and see, oh, you know what? That thing that was really, really gut-wrenching, grueling, it prepped you. So being around new people that had new kinds of conversations and new ideas, like I love that. It was priming you. The other thing that I think is so cool is seeing it as a mirror for yourself and realizing, and almost like the name of this being held, you are learning to hold space for yourself. You are being held by you, which we've talked a lot about. I love inner parenting work. Like that to me is hands down been one of the most powerful tools, is learning to be your loving parent. And it has that energy to it as well.
Totally. And that's as adults, and that's what we'll learn about, in the docuseries too. It's like, it's now time to reparent. We have to reparent and hold the parts of ourselves that we've neglected and silenced and were neglected as children, and to really like come back and remember our innate wholeness, and that, relationship is not to fix or do that work for us. It's like we need to hold ourselves and then show up and meet the other person, and then be in our own whole selves to support them in navigating, because relationships bring stuff up. They are mirrors, right? But we need to come with the intention and the practice of going, okay, there's parts of me that I need to hold, and I need a partner that understands that process and can hold space for me while I do that, and vice versa.
Yeah. I also appreciate what I can hear too is there's the appreciation, the gratitude, maybe if there's forgiveness, whatever, all of that with your former partner, your former husband. And this is something, it's so easy to bypass feelings. I mean, it's so easy because just pick up your phone, go scroll on social media, go get a box of that to eat or drink. I mean, it's very easy to like, to for me, it was abandoning myself, and it led to a autoimmune condition that is still healing. And it's interesting, as I was listening to Kelly, I'm like, what subconscious beliefs still could be shifted there, right? Like it
Mm.
doesn't matter how much time this has happened or I've been healing it, like it could heal like this. So I could feel that for myself, right? There's always, I think we can find our upper limit where we're like, oh, that belief is still there. And that's one of the things I love that you brought Dr. Bruce Lipton's work, right? Like that this, it doesn't have to be that way. It can heal quickly. It can heal without me doing much of anything. But like that takes awareness and being with it. And I think I know anyone tuning in, I know this. I always say this. It's true though, that the like attracts like. So we have anyone that's tuning in, I guarantee we're on the path together, all of us. And I just, what you're talking about and doing is so relevant. It is so needed right now because I think anxiety and all kinds of these emotions have skyrocketed. And I was in the airport a couple weeks ago and I'm like, oh my God, no one is making eye contact. I couldn't, sometimes I like to, it's a little weird, but I sometimes like to like look at people I don't know and just smile and be like, oh my God, I don't know you, but we're connected and may not see you again. There's just something very, I don't know. I like that
Mhm.
feeling. And I was like trying to like make eye contact with people. And I literally, except for the flight attendant, the person checking in, I was like, hey to you, I do need to connect with you. But it just, nobody was present. I mean, it was kind of scary. It felt like a little robotic, I must tell you.
Yeah, I know. That's frightening. Yes. And then we get in conversations like this and feel that, everybody listening, it's like you feel like there's a magnetism to like-minded souls to amplify presence and
Yeah.
heart-led creation and to shift all that, So it's like, and we see a lot in politics right now, like it's no matter what side of the aisle you are on, it's divisive and it's volatile and it's ignorant and it's crazy. And it's corrupt and it's stale and it's just,
Yeah.
ugh, like
Stale.
it's like yeah, it's stale, right?
Great word.
So,
Perfect word.
so
Yeah.
you get the
Moldy.
same, it's moldy, it's stale, it's stagnant, it's asleep. It's like, you get the same thing at a commercial airport. So yes. And a lot of my work is right now, like even before this, I had to record hours of my voice just to, help to feed the AI just because we're running tests and stuff on the app. And so I ran out of the scripts that I was supposed to read. And I was like, oh God, I got to read for 45 minutes. So my Lexi, who you met, she's like, oh, why don't you read from the Course in Miracles? And so
Oh,
I, I know I was reading from the Course in Miracles, which is like so dense to read into a microphone for 45 minutes. But um,
what were you reading? Okay, because that's so funny. I was going to ask you if you use it at all. You have to tell us.
yeah, I know. Well, I need to whip it out, but I just flipped over to the kind of the first beginning. So it was about
Yeah.
miracles and atonement and fear, and it was just like the fear versus the love, and but you know, they were talking about made in the image and the likeness of, or the Father's one begotten Son, and it was saying how like it's one sonship. So all of us are the sons
Yes.
making up this collective humanity expression of the divine, right? And we're all these fractal expressions. We are all divine little, you know, rays of the divine that come in here, and this is all an illusion of separation. So the more we can remind ourselves of that, the more we can look at these kind of circumstances in our lives and these people that have wronged us and betrayed us and these perpetrators, these antagonists in our drama. It's like, but we're all perfect divine expressions. And to me, it's like mathematical. I mean, there's, if you look at like, what's that called? That
Fibonacci,
the Fibonacci sequence, and just like all of the mathematic formulas that is found in nature, sacred geometry. It's like there is a cosmic intelligence and a mathematical structure and this dance between all humans, and we're just playing roles in each other's dramas to give each other exactly what we need to awaken and remember, and whatever our souls came to choose to evolve and to grow and to heal. And so from that sense, like as I'm reading the Course in Miracles, it was like there's really like nothing to forgive. It's just like a remembering. It's a remember, like if there's an othering, if there's something to forgive, then you're in the illusion of separation. And if you can remember that there's either fear or love, and just when anything is off, you just go to love, which means loving your perpetrator and betrayer. It's like, so I was just like, ah, like we forget every day, we forget, and we want to like punch people in the face. But it really, the more you practice, the more it just starts to reprogram, clean the lens. And then, I found myself in the last few weeks, like certain circumstances unfolded in my body, like you mentioned before, the abandon myself. My body made it very clear that I was no longer to abandon myself with the wrong energy of people and places and alcohol, which to me is wild because I've used alcohol for 30 years, since I was 16 years old, I've been drinking. And it's not like, oh, I get blackout and I need to like, doing terrible things. I'm like kind of a happy drinker, but it's so clear that I was using it in order to have momentary relief from either the discomfort of idle time where I'd have to like feel my shit, or just the density of the world. And so in removing alcohol for almost the last 2 months, and there's no judgment of alcohol. It's like everybody has their story. I know there's a huge sober movement. I just know that I need to take a break for a long enough time to fully detox my system and fully restructure how I relate to life. I envision myself going back to like Italy one day and enjoying wine, and you know what I mean? So like, I don't have any judgments around it. I just know now my body made it very clear. And in doing that and in following that, like, it's crazy how I feel and the productivity and the alignment and the flow and like the synchronicities and like, so all of that to say, if you follow the breadcrumbs and keep doing the work, even in stormy periods of your life, trust that like the storm passes and the sun comes out and the rainbows, and it's like better than you can imagine. Like I'm just hitting that after, definitely 2 years of like the most intense period of my life, but like really like 6. And it feels really good. Oh, feels so good.
I'm like, I feel you. I'm like, whoo,
Yes,
exhale right there. Like,
yes,
just,
yes.
oh, I love this conversation. It's so real. And I thank you for sharing that. I mean, who cannot relate, right? Like, and again, courage and choice. Like, I know for me when it was cocoa, I really do absolutely love chocolate, like all of it, all kinds. And I had a sense, this is going to sound crazy, and maybe it was fear, I don't know, but in bed, and I got this, there's oxalates in cocoa, and I heard you need to stop, you need to take it out, mainly because that can cause kidneys, like if you have too much oxalates. And I know this sounds maybe odd, but I trust it. And I was like, damn, okay. I cannot believe. All right, I knew this. I probably have a friend who'll be listening who's like, "Oh God, Julia, you've been saying this for years." But it just came like you heard your body. It was clear. And we all have, I really believe this, Kelly, and I know you this in Heal, it was so clear. We do get these signs or senses or feel like I really heard lay off it. Lay off
Mhm.
it. Your kidney's not so happy, right? Like it's too much.
Yeah.
It's you're hurting us in here. Like stop. And I don't F with that. When I hear that, I'm like, hands up, white flag, okay, done. Like
Yeah.
threw it all out. I had like the high end, cacao ceremony. And we're talking
Yeah.
just but like you, maybe I'm sure I'll pick it up in small amounts, but for you, it sounds like that really cleared the runway to be able to be aligned and receive and to be present. I mean, that is when we're talking about somatic connecting, that's where we get the best information, not necessarily a doctor telling us what to do, but we tune in.
I mean, what I found is that is everything. I mean, our inner guidance, our intuition, our connection with, our body, which is the way that and then our heart is like our connection to the soul. And we're just like we just need to keep clearing that connection and clearing the distortions so that we get the guidance. The guidance is always there. It's just like the matter of how much distortion is in the way. And there's built-in distortion just in this 3D kind of matrix of modern life that we have to ninja through. But it's that daily practice and inner work that, and you just do it. And there's days you're like, why am I doing this? Like my life sucks and this is really heavy. And then, oh man, but if you just keep doing it, these little wins happen and these connections happen and beautiful things happen.
Beautiful. I love that you brought in the course. And actually, what just came to me was, to me, when I do a lesson a day and I just will meditate with it, I actually think it helps to remove the distortion for at least the 24. It's not always even 24 hours. I have to go back. I really literally have to. I have it on my phone too, and I'm like, oh yeah, okay, that's the lesson.
Cool.
And this idea, I've loved Marianne's teachings, and I had a mentor for a couple of years who's been doing this for 40 years, and she would say, Julie, just don't forget, there's no one else out there. So anything you are seeing in someone, like, just know. And I was like, oh, good Lord, that is something. That is something to take in, when we start to other, or it's like, wait a minute. And you said it, even the idea of the sonship, I like to think of it as like the sun, as in like sun, like we're all, rays of light, and the sun is, divine is the core, whatever word works.
Totally. But that's the perfect. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I'm like, oh,
sonship. I prefer that anyway because we're women, for God's
sake.
I'm always like, it's got to be a son,
Yeah, I know. I know. I read it with my husband, and I'm always like, and then God said to his children, and I'm like, or their children, I don't know. I try to change it, and I'm like,
the twins.
Yeah,
no, I'm kidding.
Right, it's all good. You just, take what you like, leave the rest.
Yeah.
Before we wrap, I do want to ask about Withheld, with your docuseries. What are you most excited about with the app, with your docuseries? Like, share a little bit because probably way more than most what's on the horizon, and what really like feeds your passion here with both of these projects.
Yeah. We're in that like transition period of putting so much work in, and then we're in that like pain and discomfort of like just releasing it to the world. So there's so much unknown. And what I'm most excited about is really like being present in like being in so much flow and trust, and going, okay, like for my docuseries, I have just this real strong desire and feeling that it's going to be on Netflix, and there's so many other streamers, and we have this great relationship with Prime that, not to knock anything anywhere, but like I just, I have these intuitions and knowing, and so I'm most excited to see how it unfolds. And with the docuseries, I feel like, again, capacity increased, I'm at a different level of life, but I feel the exact same way I felt when I embarked on Heal. So docuseries is way more hours of content. I don't know the personal stories that I'm going to put in. I don't know how it's going to, like, there's a lot more to be left up to organic unfolding than a 90-minute format. And so it's the magnitude is so big for me. And so I'm still in that, like, and also I feel so robust and clear and in flow and in alignment with my partner and my team and the people we're magnetizing, that I'm just like, it's so cool to be on this ride with so much unknown, and also knowing we are so in alignment with what spirit wants to bring through us, and to keep, so in moments of like tension, like, oh, we need to raise money, and like, oh, I don't know how it's going to do it. It's like, all you need to do is stay present, stay vital, and know that you are co-creating with spirit. So spirit's going to organize it. Spirit's got the mathematics and the intelligence. Like, you just have to say yes, keep this vessel clean and happy and joyous, show up for your daughter, because that's your main priority right now as a mom, and just trust and keep taking the leap and doing and following your intuition. And I'm like, oh, and in living that, like, it really can be easy. And so I'm just trying to stay in that space. I'm not saying I'm always there. I get, life happens, you get knocked off, and you curse at the driver that cut you off. But but it's exciting to be in this, like to feel all the work crystallizing in that way.
That's beautiful. You just, I think, shared a new kind of roadmap that has a lot of intuitive feminine aspects to it, to really being a co-creator with spirit, with the divine. That to me, that is what I believe we are being asked to step into next. Everything you just said, I was like, wow. So everyone listening, like, and we'll have the notes. Really, it's not having it all figured out. It's not having this, you're not pushing and striving. You're actually allowing, you're opening, this, and I'm getting chills again. I mean, this to me, this is where, the divine breathes through you, creates with you. You get to be that vessel and expression. And I just I see it on Netflix, Kelly. I see it there. And I believe in you and this work. And we will keep in touch and let everyone know about Held, about the series, because I know that you are tapped in and tuned in here. And this is what to me, it's a collective calling for what you're answering and what you're producing and creating. And I think it's extraordinary. I really do.
Oh, thank you. Well, thank you. These conversations and these connections and you and all the work you're doing, it's like, that's what makes it fun. And we forget that we're supposed to be having fun as we're, creating the life of our dreams. So let's have more fun in these conversations.
Let's please have more fun.
Yeah.
My husband would be like, "Oh, please, Julie, please listen to that. Please get a little lighter about
we're
things."
We're gonna have to figure out fun without chocolate and wine. But
I know. I'm like, your wine, my chocolate, because I could take or leave alcohol, but I'm sorry, dark chocolate. It doesn't even have to have less sugar. Just ho.
I know,
it's my girl. It's my thing. But I'm doing it with you. We're doing it together.
Amazing.
Yes. I thank you for your huge heart, for your just the beautiful steps that you are taking through your intuition with this guidance, and so excited to see what's on the horizon, both with Held, both with your docuseries. It's so needed. And so the question I always end with, I'll just say this, I call them heart flares, Kelly, where you'll love this because, heart intelligence, it's like your heart is like, I got something to say. I feel like we're giving your heart the mic. So I'm just going to, not that you haven't been talking through your heart, but is there anything I didn't ask or share? There's something that's just coming up that you feel like is right there for you.
Oh, gosh. I feel like I've said a lot, but the heart is where it's at, is what I'll say. The heart. The key is dropping into your heart, out of your head and into your heart. And for me, somatic healing and that practice of just being with your emotions and your feelings and not analyzing them. I'm sure a lot of the audience members are like us, and we try to figure things out and we're in our head all the time. And I've just had to learn recently how to drop from the head into the heart, into the body, and tune into the sensations of what you're feeling, like if sadness comes up, or if rage, or if rejection, or guilt, or whatever it is, where it is in your body, and then just being with it and just noticing, observing, and not even figuring it out, because that gets you right back up into your head, and just being with it like you're sitting on a bench with this feeling. And I've had profound in the last few weeks, like shifts in a matter of minutes, just doing that and healing old stuff and wounds that were just asking to be seen and felt for literally minutes, like massive, like father rejection wound that I, with the help of my somatic coach, worked through in, summer flight delays at an airport, in a terminal, crowded terminal. My daughter's on her iPad. I have like my cowboy hat, and he's just like, tune in here via text. He's just guided me like what to do. And within 8 minutes, just completely sat with this rejection wound that had been there since childhood and shifted everything because it just needed to be recognized, seen, and then integrated. And like so powerful. So my heart is saying, if that resonates, look into that, because I truly believe in order to heal, we need to feel, and we've forgotten how to do that.
Amen. And so it is.
And so it is.
So it is that. That is it. That is it. Oh my gosh, Kelly, thank you. This has been, I feel like we went into a portal. I'm kind of like, where am I? And what just happened? What
I'm
just
like
happened
sweating
there?
over here. I don't
I
even
know
know
I'm
what's happening.
sweating. I'm cold. I don't even know. I feel like I was like every climate. Oh my gosh. Thank you. Thank you. And I'll just say a shout out to you, our beloved listener, wherever you are. We love you. And we're all in this together. We are you. You are me. I am you. We're all in this. And
Yes.
may you continue to be on this courageous journey of feeling, of healing, and being your U.est you, connecting to your highest self. That's who you are.
That's right. Amen. Thank you,
Amen.
Julie.
Mwah. Until next time. Mwah. Love to you. Hey, beautiful soul. It's Julie here. Have you been craving greater stillness, deeper connection, higher guidance? Well, if so, I have created something just for you. It is called the Meditation Portal, and it is a sacred weekly experience where you'll be getting weekly new channeled meditations that are going to help you to realign, to reconnect, and to rise. They are just for you. And it is more than just a meditation. These are energetic transmissions. These are activations. They're going to help you connect to your U.est you. It's only $22 a month. You can join or cancel anytime. So head over to julieriesler.com/meditation portal to step in.